Another good speech. And now the sun's come up and we're going to continue on, and Republicans are still Republicans and Democrats are still Democrats. Good to have you with us on this Wednesday morning edition of Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you this production from the Center for American Progress in Washington, D.C. There was very little anticipation to the speech yesterday. Okay, it's the last one. There's obviously a lot of issues. The world's facing a lot of different big problems. One of them is climate change, which we'll talk about. One of them, obviously, is terrorism, which on all the talking heads after the speech last night, they just couldn't get enough of security. Lost in the shuffle in all of the analysis last night was the president talking about business. And the only time he got a rise out of the Republicans is when he says that there are some regulations that needs to change. Okay. All right. It just underscores that that's all the Republicans care about is tax cuts and deregulation. It's all they care about. They don't care about climate change. They don't care about health care. They don't want to do anything. They just want to make sure that the rich don't pay anything. And damn it, don't put any regulation on Wall Street or anywhere else. And in small business. That is it. And I was giggling throughout the entire Republican response from Nikki Haley. They picked a loser to respond, and she didn't say anything. And now the analysis of her speech is that, there's a big divide in the Republican Party. Who cares about the Republican Party? The fact is, right now, there is a heart and soul fight for the Democratic nomination. And it is surprising that Hillary Clinton is out attacking Bernie Sanders. For months, they've been saying, well, what is Hillary going to say about Bernie? Where's she going to attack Bernie? Where are the vulnerabilities? Healthcare? Really? Are you kidding me? Okay. Well, let's give the president his due. Let's see. This is January 13th. Where were we January 13th, 2009? The economy was in the toilet. Google the news, January 13th, 2009. How many jobs did we peel off this day 7 years ago? Let's give the president his due. Cut one on the big list.
The United States of America, right now, has the strongest, most durable economy in the world. We're in the middle of the longest streak of private sector job creation in history. More than 14 million new jobs, the strongest 2 years of job growth since the 1990s, an unemployment rate cut in half. Our auto industry just had its best year ever. That's just part of a manufacturing surge that's created nearly 900,000 new jobs in the past 6 years. And we've done all this while cutting our deficits by almost 3/4.
Wow!
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
Who would have predicted that audio 7 years ago, this January 13, 2009? Well, fast forward to 2016. I would like rich people to stand up and say they never made any money during the Obama years. They can't. This has been a great run for the wealthy. This has been a great run for the concentration of wealth. This has also been a tough situation in the economy where people have circled back into the economy at lesser wages and working more jobs and longer hours. That's where the fight for the Democratic Party comes in. But all of the things that Obama has gone along with was against a headwind of obstruction that no other president in the history of the country has ever had to put up with. And I will always give the president the benefit of the doubt because the Republicans wanted to obstruct, and the biggest obstructor was sitting behind him last night, smirking throughout the entire speech. Donna Edwards, Congresswoman from Maryland, joins us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Donna, good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Do you remember January 13th, 2009?
Oh, I absolutely remember. I mean, I was a freshman member of Congress. My first State of the Union was the President's first State of the Union. And I remember that our economy was in a sinkhole and sinking every month, hemorrhaging hundreds of thousands of jobs.
Hundreds of thousands of jobs. I mean, can we comprehend that?
700,000 jobs a month our economy was hemorrhaging when the President made his State of the Union address that January.
Fast forward to this day, and it's climate change. Listen to what the president said about climate change last night.
Look, if anybody still wants to dispute the science around climate change, have at it. You will be pretty lonely, because you'll be debating our military, most of America's business leaders, the majority of the American people, almost the entire scientific community, and 200 nations around the world who agree it's a problem and intend to solve it. But even if the planet wasn't at stake, even if 2014 wasn't the warmest year on record, until 2015 turned out to be even hotter, why would we want to pass up the chance for American businesses to produce and sell the energy of the future?
Now, in the politics of all of this, folks, if the Republicans continue to obstruct, and they will have power, they'll own the House. Nothing can get done unless it's a stamp of approval of the People's House, which Donna Edwards is a part of. We could be sitting here in another 4 years, 8 years, with no progress on climate change. That's the danger in all of this, that our country would be left behind the 200 countries that are sitting there saying, hey, it's a problem. Donna, play this out for us.
Well, I think the one person that the president left off of his list in order to challenge the climate deniers was the Pope. And so, what I see is a world that's actually, and an American public is coalescing around the idea that not only does climate change exist, not only do we have to pay attention to the science, but it's real and we have to do something about it. And so the deniers can continue to do that, but it flies in the face of what the American people believe. And one thing that I am grateful for is that the president in this next year still has his veto pen. And he's been willing to exercise it. And so if they try to roll back on things that the president is trying to do, either in an executive fashion or through policy, the president still can exercise his authority, and it's pretty significant. And so I hope that what we're going to do is be able to make a little bit more progress on these issues. So even in another, with another president and another Congress, that we will not be able to roll back on what the American people want.
Okay. And the tough thing about this for the Republicans is that the demographics on this are against them. Young people in this country collectively, in a vast majority, have recognized that we better do something about climate change, and the Republicans keep denying and keep obstructing all of that. I don't know how that's a winning card for them. Your thoughts?
That's right, and thousands of new potential voters coming online every single month in this country who believe in climate change, who believe that we have to have leadership of the United States and the world community to address climate change. Why? So that they have a future, so that their children have a future. This is what young people get. And so I think the Republicans are in the wrong place on this. And, and I think there are people of faith, evangelicals around the country who are saying, yes, we have to do something about climate change. A big first step was the president saying no to the Keystone Pipeline. But you know what, Ed, in addition to that, we got to stop the Trans-Pacific Partnership, too, because that will do great harm to our efforts on climate. And so the president and I are not on the same page when it comes to that, but we are on the same page when it comes to making sure that we can put policies in place, investing in energy, investing in technology, investing in the future, research and development. The president talked about that last night as a way for us to make sure that we can, stop these rapid changes in our climate that are happening, and hope to have some kind of reversal.
Congresswoman Donna Edwards, thanks for being on the correct side of the TPP. It's not over yet, and Congress can stop it. I appreciate it. Good to have you with us. We'll do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
When we come back, we'll review exactly what the president said about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the forces mounting against it. It's not a slam dunk, and your involvement as a listener, your involvement as a citizen of the United States, you can make a difference on this. We'll talk about that with Rosa DeLauro when we come back. Hey, folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, wegoted.com, or go to biogreenclean.com. www.biogreenclean and order today. It's time to continue our conversation about mechanical insulation. Mechanical insulation is for the piping systems in our nation's commercial and industrial facilities. Facility owners are burning up billions of dollars through the lack of mechanical insulation on these piping systems. Call the iSave team. Insulation saves America valuable energy, and this team of energy conservation specialists is shovel-ready to save you money. Visit iSaveTeam.org to have a specialist give your plant an energy audit.
Now, last year, Vice President Biden said that with a new moonshot, America can cure cancer. Last month, he worked with this Congress to give scientists at the National Institutes of Health the strongest resources that they've had in over a decade. So tonight I'm announcing a new national effort to get it done. And because he's gone to the mat for all of us on so many issues over the past 40 years, I'm putting Joe in charge of mission control. For the loved ones we've all lost, for the families that we can still save, let's make America the country that cures cancer once and for all.
Let's make America the country that cures cancer once and for all. Well, the president definitely gave the Republicans something they can agree with the Democrats on, and how big that is, no question about it. Trade is jobs. Trade is the economy. We're in a global economy. That genie is out of the bottle. How do we make it fair? How do we level the playing field? How do we make sure that it does not hurt America? Every trade agreement we have had has hurt our economy. Every single one of them, when it comes to net American jobs and also the pressure, downward pressure on wages. Rosa DeLauro joins us, Congresswoman from Connecticut, who has been a staunch leader in saying no to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is what the president said last night about the TPP.
That's how we forged a Trans-Pacific Partnership to open markets and protect workers and the environment and advance American leadership in Asia. It cuts 18,000 taxes on products made in America, which will then support more good jobs here in America.
That's trickle down.
With TPP, China does not set the rules in that region. We do. You want to
China? Hold it right there. That argument's out the window. China is a dirty player when it comes to currency manipulation. Their economy is in shambles compared to what it was years ago. For more on this, let's go to Rosa DeLauro. Congresswoman, good to have you with us.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you, Ed. It's a delight to be talking with you again.
Your thoughts on the speech on this subject. Thank you for joining us.
Fine. I will, before I address that subject, which I will, I will just say this to you. I think one of the things that the president did do last night is to take us back to the strengths of America, and that is a country that has provided opportunity for people, that has its strength being in its diversity. And I think what he tried to do, and I think he did well, is to capture the promise of that American dream with big ideas and where we go, whether it is, a good economy for all, technology, our strength is not just military, but it's our moral authority as well, and then to talk about our politics and getting that back on track. Now, that being said, the president's quote was up on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So I agree with all of the speech, except we have a real difference of opinion on the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, as you know, as you recognize. And the notion that this would open markets, protect workers and the environment, and advance American leadership in Asia, I think is contrary to what the details of this agreement demonstrate to all of us. It is, you have pointed out, it's so much like the failed agreements of the past. It's cost us jobs, it's suppressed our wages, and the administration has not enforced the trade agreements of the past. So that we have a new agreement with regard to environmental regulations and human rights and labor rights, and that we have there's no precedent for saying that these efforts, would go in a different, direction, especially when you have Malaysia and Brunei who are signatories, going to be signatories to this effort, which are Malaysia being the world leader in human trafficking and forced labor, and Brunei being the country that stones women and discriminates against LGBT individuals. So,
Sharia law in Brunei. I mean, we're doing a deal with a country that has Sharia law. Talk about human rights. I mean, that's one of the big failures of this as well.
The piece is, and you put it, and we punt it aside, the whole issue on China, the rules that come out of this trade agreement are rules, in fact, that rewriting trade rules that currently would put the middle class in real jeopardy. This is, and not by my words, by Jeffrey Sachs, that this is a trade agreement that is for investors and not for workers. And and those investors, including the corporate advisors who would help to develop this effort. This agreement, at the heart of this, is about the economy and workers and the middle class. And the fact is that today, as you know, Ed, people are in jobs that just don't pay them enough money.
Yeah, wage disparity is terrible, and it's going to put downward pressure on wages. Congresswoman, where are we? This has got to be a top priority of the Democrats to stop this in 2016. I think it's as big as climate change. What's the movement?
Well, there is a movement. We gathered this past week. With the most robust and diverse coalition that includes academics and individuals who in the past have written or supported trade agreements like NAFTA, like Korea, and who say now that this should be defeated. We have labor, the environmental groups, the religious groups, nonprofits, etc., and the commitment is to defeat TPP. And I believe that it's not only Democrats, because these issues don't only face Democrats, they face people all over the country, and that, fact, we will see, colleagues from the other side of the aisle who will join. I don't know if you noticed it last night when the president spoke about the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. I think the cabinet members stood, and there may have been one or two members, or no one else stood, clapped, or anything else, because there is the view that this is harmful, and that is enough. We have taken enough in terms of what's happened to American workers and their jobs. This treaty would deny access to medicines. It would allow foreign corporations to sue and do what NAFTA is being done, what Canada is doing under the NAFTA rules, is to sue the United States over the president's actions on the Keystone Pipeline. Because of WTO, the United States has now repealed country of origin labeling. We don't enforce environmental regulations, and we don't enforce labor regulations.
You've just given us an example of how it's a terrible, slippery slope. Yes, and this circumvents American law. It circumvents a representative government. It puts our economy in jeopardy. And I don't know how the president could be so wrong on such a big issue after doing so many great things. That puzzles a lot of Americans. Right,
I think you just said it so accurately, because the speech was I think so positive and inspirational in terms of where this nation needs to go and that hope for the future. In contrast to our the other side of the aisle and to the Republican presidential candidates, it's America's best days are ahead of us. But then to make reference to this agreement as opening the markets, protecting jobs, is really contrary. So contrary to now that we have the details. This, as you know, This is a document that was written in secret over a 7-year period of time, and we have no ability to change it or to amend it. Our job, and I just will quote Joseph Stiglitz, who is the economic Nobel laureate, who said, our job would be to defeat the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Well done.
So,
Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, fighter for the people, fighter for workers, always great. Thank you. We'll do it again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You're a fighter yourself, Ed. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Congresswoman, you bet. Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you this production. When we come back, the dust-up, the fight, the attack, whatever you want to call it. Apparently, there is a huge difference between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders on the campaign trail when it comes to, of all things, health care. We're right back.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
Every now and then there are times when you get a head shaker from the candidates. You wonder, what's that all about? You wonder, that can't be true. And then you go fact check it because you're curious, because you want to make sure what you're hearing is correct. For months, I think people have been wondering, okay, what kind of campaign is Sanders going to be able to run against the Clinton machine? And I don't think anyone months ago thought that Hillary Clinton would be responding to what Bernie Sanders wants to do with a huge issue in his life and his one of his benchmark issues, and that is, of all things, health care. He's been a Medicare for All campaigner for decades. But Hillary Clinton said something in Iowa the other day and threw in the right-wing governor's name, Terry Branstad, who progressives hate in Iowa. He's as righty as they come. And Hillary Clinton threw Branstad into the equation via health care. And this is as strange as it gets. Here it is.
He wants to roll Medicare, Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, Affordable Care Act program, and private health insurance into a national system and then turn it over to the states to administer. Now, if that's the kind of revolution he's talking about, I am worried, folks.
None of that's true, to my knowledge. In the Sanders campaign has come out and said, basically, Hillary, are you off your rocker? That's just not even anywhere near being true. But it doesn't stop there. Listen to Chelsea Clinton in New Hampshire.
Senator Sanders wants to dismantle Obamacare, dismantle the CHIP program, dismantle Medicare, dismantle private insurance. Now, the Republicans in Congress have voted against the Affordable Care Act 55 times. Right? Not because they want to replace it with something, because they want to get rid of it. So I worry that if we give Republicans democratic permission to do that, we'll go back to an era before we had the Affordable Care Act that will strip millions and millions and millions of people of their health insurance.
I can't believe this. Chelsea Clinton is programmed. And she's programmed with false information, and now she is aligning Bernie Sanders with Republicans when it comes to health care? I tell you what, if I was really anti-Hillary Clinton, I have enough material to unleash a verbal attack that's unparalleled to anything I've ever done in my career. I'm stunned by that. The Sanders camp will take care of the truth. I'm stunned by that. And to be fair, it was Hillary Clinton who was in the Sanders position back in 2008 Don't you remember this sound cut on the campaign trail?
Since when do Democrats attack one another on universal health care? I thought we were trying to realize Harry Truman's dream. I thought this campaign finally gave us an opportunity to put together a coalition to achieve universal health care. Let's have a real campaign. Enough with the speeches and the big rallies and then using tactics that are right out of Karl Rove's playbook. This is wrong, and every Democrat should be outraged, because this is the kind of attack that not only undermines core democratic values, but gives aid and comfort to the very special interests and their allies in the Republican Party who are against doing what we want to do for America. So shame on you, Barack Obama.
A shame moment. I'll tell you what, if you're a true progressive and a good lefty over the years, and you have followed the agenda of the Democratic Party, even back in 2008 in Denver, when they put universal health care as a party platform, I don't think those three sound bites really need a whole lot of commentary. You can figure it out. When we come back, Lori Wallach of Trade Watch. Stay with us. We're right back.
From the steel mills of Pennsylvania, to the auto factories of Michigan, to the modern makers movement, manufacturing makes our nation great. I'm Scott Paul, president of the Alliance for American Manufacturing. We bring business and labor together to advocate for policies that everyone can agree on. Together, we can strengthen manufacturing and create good-paying American jobs. Help us keep it made in America.
Good to have you back with us here on Ed Schultz and commentary on this Wednesday edition. This is what the president said. TPP will open markets, protect workers and the environment, and advance American leadership in Asia. I don't doubt the fact that it might advance leadership in Asia, but it's not going to protect workers. It's not going to protect the environment. And the markets that he's talking about opening up are the ones on Wall Street, where rich investors can prey off cheap labor overseas, which would undercut American workers. That's it. He also said with TPP, China doesn't set the rules in that region, we do. You want to show our strength in this century? Approve this agreement. Get us the tools to enforce it. Lori Wallach, director of Public Citizens Global Trade Watch. Good to have you with us. Your thoughts on how the president pitched it last night?
Well, I think there are two things that are worth noting. One is he literally spent 28 seconds in his over an hour-long speech on what is ostensibly his top priority for 2016. And those 28 seconds, that's a bigger number than the number of members of Congress who stood up to cheer for it when he delivered that line. It is indicative of how the American public is not buying the sales pitch. The polling shows Americans know this agreement will lead to more American jobs being offshored to low-wage countries. Americans, the polling shows, recognize that this agreement, by pitting Americans against workers in Vietnam making less than 65 cents an hour, will push down all of our wages.
Lori, you think the president knows all this, and that's why he only spent 28 seconds on it to save face? He's got to get this thing out of the way and be done with it? What do you think?
Well, the thing I've noticed in all of the research data is the more people hear about the TPP, the less they like it. So my suspicion, and we'll know more today in the next couple of days because the entire cabinet is fanning out to do a sales job post-State of the Union, so we'll see if they're more quietly talking about TPP. But my suspicion is they are still full priority to try and pass this, but they realize there's no upside talking about it publicly. Because here's, Ed, what I found yesterday. The White House was sending out emails announcing, say, the Ag Secretary and other folks doing calls with local chambers of commerce, local farm bureaus. Even though the president realizes this agreement's such a loser for most Americans and people are onto it, he doesn't want a big advertisement about it, they are doing the work to the interests that are going to be trying to get Congress to vote it. And the other piece that happened is in a briefing for press before the speech, the White House press secretary said their goal was to have this done and passed before Congress left Washington for the election. So that would be June.
Yeah. Isn't going to happen. I don't see it. I mean,
from your mouth to God's ears.
Well,
I mean, we know what their arguments are after last night. And I just want to flag that whole point you raised about leadership in Asia. Because here's the perverse thing. That argument, the foreign policy argument's the one they always make as the last resort when all the economic arguments are failing. And after you look and see what, for instance, happened with the free trade agreement with Korea, where our trade deficit is almost doubled, and we have seen our exports drop, and we see jobs go away, they want to change the topic. And so it's kind of like China's like a distraction. Squirrel, look over there. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Ed, I've now spent a lot of quality time digging through the actual text of the agreement. China didn't have to be in the room. All the U.S. corporations, those 500 advisors, they wrote the damn agreement for China. Listen, without China having to give a single concession, under TPP, they could get cars duty-free into the U.S. with more than majority China content. There are no limits on their currency cheating. So when they cheat on currency, they still are beating our butts through third countries like Vietnam.
Yeah. There's no question about it. We just got to keep the momentum going, and I think the president, in a sense, capitulated last night, knowing that he had to mention it because it's something that he wants, but he also knows it doesn't deserve any more than 30 seconds because there's a real good chance he's going to end up getting embarrassed on this. This will destroy a lot of good that what his administration and his work has done if this goes through, and we'll have to live with it for years. It will restructure our economy. It will be the death knell of the middle class. And we will become a two-class system in this country, the wealthy and the dirt poor. And I mean it. And
that's
you can kiss,
on.
That's where we're going to be. Lori Wallach, we're not done talking about this. Great to visit with you, and we will do it again. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Ed Schultz, News and Commentary. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team sponsor this production. From the Center for American Progress, Washington, D.C., we're back tomorrow.